With the first pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Zaccharie Rizache. All the players selected tonight have their own unique story that led them here to the draft, a culmination of years of hard work and dedication.
What's up, everybody on YouTube? AJ Russ back to discuss another video, and today we're going to be talking about what we learned from the 2024 NBA draft. So yeah guys, this draft definitely different in terms of not being a consistent #1 pick. We kind of had an idea who might have been, but there's not necessarily a generational talent in this draft. Of course, Zaccharie Rizache ended up being the #1 pick to the Hawks. Alex Sarr being #2, Shepard to the Rockets. It really seems like a role player rich draft in my opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that because the league is full of role players. And honestly, a lot of people are saying this draft class is weak, but if you look at every draft in the NBA, I think the last quote-unquote weak draft class was in 2013. You saw the superstar in Giannis Antetokounmpo come out of that, a top 5 player in our game right now. You have perennial all-stars or all-star caliber players like CJ McCollum, who was in that draft, even Victor Oladipo before the injuries. Consistent people like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for the Nuggets, who was integral on their championship and also with the Lakers in 2020. So you're always going to have some solid players from each draft and potentially a few all-stars. And that's kind of what I want to focus on this video, some of the biggest steals. Some people who are going to help contenders, help their teams right away, some Rookie of the Year candidates. I just really like this draft in terms of the mystery and the unknown. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of people born in 2005 in this draft. That's insane to me because I was born in 2002, so it's crazy seeing people that much younger going to the league. But hey, the league is young, the league is athletic, the league is growing, and really it's a beautiful thing to see. We're going to talk about it more in depth, of course, but I love Dalton Connect to the Lakers. That's a huge steal. There's no reason he should have slipped beyond the lottery in my opinion, but that's a huge W for the Lakers. Of course, we're going to talk about Bronnie going there. Obviously, he wasn't one of the best players in the draft. He got drafted in the 2nd round, but it's a beautiful story. Yes, there's nepotism, but I'll get into that later. Rob Dillingham to the Timberwolves. Oh my goodness, that's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie, the Spurs kind of tripping on that because they could have had a backcourt with Rob Dillingham and Stefon Castle. That would have been nice. Just a lot of picks, and like I said, I'm a Rockets fan, and I like to reach Shepard pick, but I'm going to talk about it more. But this was an intriguing draft. Like I said, the mystery, the unknown. We're going to see what happens in Summer League and next season, but only time will tell. You really can't judge draft classes at least 2 to 3 years in my opinion. But with that being said, before I dive deeper into the 2024 NBA draft breakdown, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and turn on post notifications. You know we post about here videos about the NBA, NFL, Marvel, DC, pop culture, cooking videos, shorts, things of that nature. With that being said, let's talk more about this draft. So of course I'm not going to talk about every single draft pick. That would be redundant and the video would be forever. But of course I have to talk about Zaccharie Rizache, the #1 pick. I saw some people, I don't know if y'all remember Frank Mason, who used to be like a role player for Kansas in college. He said he played against him in a French league and there's like no way he's the #1 pick. There's only time to be told with that. We'll see in the Summer League how he plays, how his game translates, because he definitely seems like a good 3-and-D wing. I mean, that's what a lot of teams need nowadays. That's an essential piece to winning, and you see with the Boston Celtics, they have in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, 2 elite wings in the NBA. Make the case for the Mavericks, if they had a 3-and-D wing in the finals, they could have had a better opportunity to at least make the finals more interesting. You always need that type of player. We'll see how he plays. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him just because he is the #1 pick. I mean, that comes with that. And I won't say it necessarily reminds me of Anthony Bennett because that draft was different in 2013. If you look back at it, he wasn't the most athletic coming out of UNLV, but I definitely think that Rizache should be nice. We'll see what the Hawks decide to do with Trae Young because free agency is coming soon in the next few days, so that's a compelling conversation to have. And then moving on to Alex Sarr, shout out to my boy Mitchell, he loves the Wizards. I think that's a really good pick for them. Honestly, if I was the Hawks, I still would have picked Alex Sarr because I know that Sarr didn't take a workout with the Hawks, but you look at 2009 back in the day when Steph Curry ended up going to the Warriors, he didn't take a workout to the Warriors, still went there, and he's their greatest player in their franchise history. And I'm not necessarily putting that type of pressure on Alex Sarr to be that, but he definitely kind of reminds me of a Kristaps Porzingis in ways. He played in the Overtime Elite League and he also played in the NBL. And bro, you look at Alex Sarr and Zaccharie Rizache, they're both from France. I don't think this year in the Olympics, but in the future in the World Cup and in the Olympics like in 2028, France is going to be nice. You got Wemby, you got Rizache, and you got Sarr. That's going to be tough. I mean, there's so much international talent. That's another aspect I want to talk about in the video too, because these prospects overseas, they are coming, guys. Putting all y'all future hoopers in America on notice. Y'all gotta put the work in for sure, because I know y'all all heard the terms, of course, when I was hooping too. There's always someone that's working when you're asleep and things of that nature. Well, double that, multiply that, because all these NBA Academy leagues overseas, all of these prospects are coming. I know someone in the 2nd round was drafted straight out of the NBA Academy. So these guys are definitely displaying their talent, and a lot of these scouts are seeing that internationally, and it goes beyond America. At some point, the playing field is gonna be leveled, and that's facts. But moving on to just a draft in general, I do like Alex Sarr going to the Wizards. We'll see how long Kuzma stays there. I mean, that should be an interesting tandem in terms of Sarr at the 4, potentially sometimes playing the 5, and Kuzma there. Jordan Poole, we'll see how he plays. He had a very inconsistent up and down season. Not really looking towards a lot for the Wizards, to be honest, in that Eastern Conference, but I definitely think that's a good draft pick and a step in the right direction. Next year in 2025, everyone's going to be in a Cooper Flax sweepstakes, so that'll be intriguing. Shout out to the Washington Wizards for that pick. The Rockets, yes sir. Not being biased in this video at all, but I definitely think that Shepard, that was a great pick. He shot 52% from 3 this past season. I mean, that's insane. I think that he kind of reminds me, not necessarily a direct comparison, but in ways of a Kirk Heinrich in his prime. He was really good off the bench for the Bulls, and he can provide some good shooting, some playmaking as well. He's low-key athletic too. So maybe, definitely, I believe he can even be better than Heinrich. I mean, he can be a potential 6 man of the year candidate on that young Rockets team. I mean, their young core, you can make the case, has 8 legit players going into the future. Of course, you have Şengün, you have Jalen Green, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Amen Thompson, Shepard, and they also traded for AJ Griffin from the Hawks, who was just drafted in 2022. He provides some front court depth for the Rockets because remember, they have Steven Adams now too. So that's a really good trade and a good addition, I would say, for the Rockets team. So I talked to people, some people think that the Rockets are going to stay similar to how they were last year. I think there's no way that happens. They won 19 more games in 2024 than they did in 2023. And I think for sure they're going to make the playoffs. They should be around that 7, 6, maybe even 5 seed. I'm telling y'all, don't sleep. They're going to be an improved team. I'm not even being biased in that, because how can you just say they're going to be barely better or stay the same? I know the Western Conference is a gauntlet. There's so many teams. It's stacked. There was 10 teams over 500 this year, but that team is young. They're getting better. They even have some veteran presence too, and they're still hungry to potentially make moves. So that's another aspect of it. But I do like that Shepard pick to Houston, and he'll be a solid piece for the team going forward. I talked a little bit about it before in the intro, but Stefon Castle to the Spurs, I think that's a really good move. He started on that UConn team as a freshman last year. Of course, he wasn't on the 2023 team, but he was on this team that went back to back, and that's huge. Being a freshman, being so poised, he's a great defensive player. He's going to be a really good rookie coming out the gate, and he's going to be able to impact the Spurs. Looking forward to seeing him with Wemby. I do, like I said before, think it was a missed opportunity trading Rob Dillingham to the Timberwolves, but hey, they got a 2030 pick and a 2031 pick, so we'll see how that goes. Also, they could try to use those picks in a trade to try to get Trae Young, because we all know that his name is being linked with the Spurs for a while now. If he were to be traded, I mean, definitely Trae Young is an eye to look on, because that team, the Hawks, they're the definition of mediocre. And if you're in that mid territory, I said it in football, I said it in basketball, you're not doing anything. You want to either be trash or be contenders. But then Ron Holland to the Pistons, I also like that. I mean, the Pistons, they hired Monty Williams, which I think he is a great coach, but really that whole situation was a disaster last year, losing 29 games in a row. I mean, like, come on now, that was just bad. But they have Cade Cunningham still, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, different players of that nature. So they have some pieces, they just need some direction. They even have a new president of basketball operations. So the Pistons, they do have a chance to be better for sure. And Ron Holland, he's played professionally, so he kind of knows some of the expectations of the league, so he'll be able to be an implemental piece to what they're trying to do in Detroit. But let's talk more even about that Rob Dillingham pick again. It's going to be really nice for the Timberwolves, and not only Dillingham, but they also drafted Terrence Shannon Jr. from Illinois at the end of the first round. That's some nice help to that Timberwolves team that needed some additional scoring when Anthony Edwards was kind of gassed. Of course, we saw that in the Dallas Mavericks series. Really, they put their all in, you could tell, to that Denver Nuggets matchup, and really thought that if they beat them, that they would have a cakewalk to the finals, but that obviously wasn't the case. But now adding Dillingham and Shannon Jr., that'll provide some extra scoring, some youthful energy. Already a young team, of course, but some more youthful energy. Of course, Dillingham is going to come off the bench for now because Mike Conley is still on that team, but that's the perfect type of mentor in terms of being a solid and consistent point guard in this league. And Rob Dillingham, he is so flashy. He gets buckets. He definitely reminds me of a Jamal Crawford type of player. Jamal Crawford even said that he's going to have a top 10 handles in the league right now when he steps in the gate, because he definitely does. His bag is deep. He shot 44% from 3, averaged 15 points per game, and shot 47% from the field in his freshman and lone season in Kentucky. So Dillingham, he's definitely nice. I know they lost in the first round. Kentucky got upsetted, but he's gonna be a huge boost to the Timberwolves. And also Shannon Jr., he had a nice little run in the tournament as well, and for the season he averaged 23 points per game, which was 3rd in the country. Shot almost 48% from the field, so he's gonna be able to be a nice jolt as well to the Timberwolves. I definitely think they're one of the biggest winners in this draft, easily, and that goes without saying. A lot of people have roasted the Grizzlies for this pick, but I think that drafting Zach Edey isn't bad at all. Of course, he's gonna have problems potentially guarding on the perimeter, especially in the league, because everyone is super skilled and they're going to get in their bag and test his lateral movement and probably be successful because he is slower, but his length does make up for it. In the paint, he's going to be a huge presence. And of course, they don't have Steven Adams anymore, but they'll be able to have Edey, Jaren Jackson. I mean, that's a nice defensive front court. You trying to go in the paint, I mean, dang, that's going to be tough. So I think that he'll help the roster for sure. I mean, maybe he might have his growing pains in terms of, like I said, being quick, sometimes having a Rudy Gobert playoff effect because he was unplayable at times, but hopefully not for Edey. We'll see what that does, but I think that he'll definitely be able to contribute to the Memphis Grizzlies, and being with John Moran, we might see some cool lobs. It'll be a cool rapport, I think, with him on that team, and just adapting their mindset and their youthful energy along with Desmond Bane and other players like that. My dog D Rose on the team for life. The Grizzlies team, everybody's sleeping on them in my opinion, in terms of they had that down year. Of course, everything happened with Ja off the court season before last, and then him getting hurt, but they're definitely going to be back in the playoff picture. They were the 2nd seed in the 2022-23 season for a reason. 2021-22, they were a high seed as well. well. So just stay tuned for the Grizzlies because they're doing some work, and we shouldn't sleep on that pick, even though a lot of people are hesitant on Zach Edey. But in my opinion, this team overall, they had some great draft picks. I think that they're one of the biggest winners of the draft as well. Like the Timberwolves are the Utah Jazz, and I know they're not a flashy team anymore. Traded Donovan Mitchell a couple seasons ago. They traded Rudy Gobert, same thing. They got rid of that core that was like a fringe contender, but no one really took them seriously. But them drafting their Cody Williams from Colorado, that was a really good move. They drafted Isaiah Collier, who was a #1 player in the 2023 ESPN high school class. Don't sleep on him at all. I think that was really good as well. And then they also, in the second round, drafted Flip from Duke, who, of course, he's going to have some things he needs to grow into in terms of getting stronger, being more consistent. But his shooting is solid. He's able to be good on the perimeter, be able to provide some additional scoring. I think the Jazz can be improved, but like I said, the Western Conference is going to be tough. Would I expect them to make the playoffs? Probably not, but they could be like a 10th, 9th seed potentially. Fighting for a playing spot, maybe, if all those pieces go right. They also have Keontae George, who had a really good rookie season last year. So I think the Jazz, they definitely had some good picks drafting Collier, drafting Williams, and drafting Flip. That was a good collective draft, but in my opinion, the Lakers, they had the best pick in the first round in terms of value, getting Dalton Connect. Everyone's hesitant about drafting these older players, but in terms of the Lakers, that's a perfect situation for him. Ready to impact a roster that has a win now mentality. 23 years old, averaged almost 22 points per game this past season, and he's been through a lot. He was a JUCO product, went to Northern Colorado, and also transferred to Tennessee this past season to play his last year. And he's going to be able to get buckets for the Lakers for sure. He has a nice game. He's smooth too. Shot nearly 40% from 3 last college basketball season. He's a great 3-level scorer. He had a 40-point game in the NCAA tournament this past year, so he's going to be able to impact that team a lot. Austin Reeves, you have some comp in terms of shooting because your minutes could go to him, or they could play aside each other. We'll see what the Lakers do in free agency. But Connect, he's going to be able to impact that team. And him and Bronnie in the summer league, that should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also going to be in Las Vegas during the summer league, so I'm trying to get media credentials, praying that happens. It would be cool to, you know, see that and experience that and get some footage for y'all and potentially some interviews too. But yeah, that Lakers team though, they're going to be better next year. They certainly shouldn't be a play-in team, I think. I mean, it's kind of tough not to say that they'll still be in a play-in team because, like I said, the West is tough, but they easily could be a top 6 to 3 seed if Connect has a great rookie season. If LeBron, AD stays healthy, they're able to add some additional role players, shooting, playmaking, that'll be able to help push the needle so LeBron won't have to exert himself throughout the whole regular season. It should be better, but not everything that should happen does. I'm gonna always say that. You have to play the game on the court, not on the paper, but I do love that Dalton Connect pick going to the Lakers. Honestly, that is my favorite pick of the draft because, man, like, how do you let him slip there? I thought for sure he was going in the top 8 to 10, but everything happens for a reason, and that kind of reminds me of how Cam Whitmore slipped in the 2023 draft. A lot of people wanted the Lakers to draft him. Of course, they didn't. They drafted Jalen Hood-Schifino, I think. Spent a lot of time in the G League, really didn't get any minutes, but Connect, he's going to be able to provide instant minutes, instant shooting, instant relief and playmaking to that team and that roster. I think it's going to be a cool thing to see. Some other underrated picks that happened in the draft that I think will have some payoff in the future, not right now, that'll need some development. I think it's AJ Johnson going to Milwaukee. Shout out to my guy Ed. He's a Bucks fan. I know he wasn't happy about it, but he's Jalen Green's god brother. They really play very similar. He definitely needs to add some muscle for sure. He has a skinny frame. He's going to spend a lot of time in the G League. Played in the NBL last year, but he is athletic. He can score. Just like I said, putting on some more muscle, being able to get used to the NBA game. He'll be able to provide some type of impact to the Milwaukee Bucks in the future. I don't think right now though, and that Bucks team is in huge limbo because they're slowly falling behind teams like the Knicks, like the Celtics. If the Sixers make a huge move in free agency, it'll be them as well. And if they don't do a lot this season, I could see Doc Rivers getting fired. I could potentially see Giannis asking out. Just a lot of different things and change happening. Damian Lillard, he's turns 34 soon, so there's a lot there. But I do like AJ Johnson going there. I also did like Tyler Kolek going to the Knicks. I'm a Devin Booker fan, so I wanted the Suns to draft him, but unfortunately that didn't happen. They still need a point guard. But Tyler Kolek going to the Knicks, among with all the moves that they made, trading for Mikal Bridges, re-signing OG Anunoby, that was huge. You can make the case that the Knicks are damn near on the same level as the Celtics because that was huge. Having 4 players who played together in college from Villanova and then also the collective group that they have in New York, still Mitchell Robinson, still having Julius Randle. I know a lot of people think that he stops a lot of the play, but if he was playing in the playoffs and they were super injured, you can make the argument that they would have been in the conference finals. So we have a lot to talk about there. The Knicks are going to be better, and I think them drafting Kolek was really good. But beyond that, I really don't have any more significant things to talk about in the second round besides Bronnie. And like I said earlier, it is some nepotism, obviously, but we see nepotism in the league in terms of owners, coaching, agents, all those types of things in the NBA. So when LeBron has his son come into the league playing with him, I mean, it's a beautiful thing in my eyes, honestly. It's a dream come true. The first father-son duo to play in the league together. It's going to be intriguing to see. The memes have been crazy, though. I'm not going to lie. People saying that Bronny's going to be like, Dad, pass me the ball. I wonder how that does work, though. Is he going to call him Dad or is he going to say Bronny? LeBron on the court. I don't know, it's crazy, but that's another thing to talk about for another day. I think that's really cool though. Bronnie is obviously going to spend a lot of time in the G League. Also, he's going to spend some time in the NBA too, and beyond being LeBron's son, he does have real talent. He was a McDonald's All-American player in 2023. He did suffer that cardiac arrest incident last summer, which was traumatic. It took him some time to come back. He should be applauded for coming back from that also, and I know he didn't have the best stats at USC. That team didn't play well at all. I talked about Isaiah Collier earlier. That team was really expected to do well, but things didn't go well. Of course, they ended up firing the coach and things of that nature, but we all knew that Bronnie, the plan the whole time was for him to come into the league after one season. He had a really strong draft combine that helped boost his stock some, and I think it's a really great story, honestly. Despite the nepotism, despite him having that last name, despite his genes, he's having the opportunity of a lifetime, and I think that we can only commend that. A lot of people have been hating on that, and that's really the problem with this world. There's always jealousy, hatred, and things of that nature, but let's just applaud the young man. If he's good enough to play in the league, he's gonna do that. He's gonna earn his way. He's gotten drafted. Now it's time for him to put in the work to make sure that he maintains and gets better and stays in the league and is able to play on the Lakers for the future and make his dream come true for a long period of time. And he can impact the team defensively. His shooting has gotten better. He's been compared to people like Davion Mitchell's of the world, the Derek White's of the world. A dream comp, I think, would be Drew Holiday for Bronnie, and that would be amazing. No one expects him to be LeBron James. LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time, and that's his dad already, so that's extra pressure, but just for Bronnie to be him because he is his own individual, so that's a good thing to take away from that. We learned a lot in this draft. Like I said, it is role player rich, but there's going to be some impact players for sure who step on the scene this season and a couple seasons that take a little bit more time to develop, like we see in a lot of drafts, but we're able to reach their stride and even potentially, maybe not even on their first team, but they might get traded, including in different deals, and end up having different types of impact. So that's always an ever-flowing conversation of draft classes and things of that nature, but I think that this draft is solid, not the greatest, but definitely there will be some gems, I believe.
Also, Matt Zabulis, who got drafted to his hometown in the Chicago Bulls. That's an underrated factor. Of course, the Bulls just traded for Josh Giddey, and I don't really expect him to do too much, but that'll be a solid tandem. A lot of people projected Zabulis to be drafted in the top 10 for most of the year, and going into his hometown, I think that'll be a solid situation for him coming from the G League Ignite. That's also a good draft pick, I would say.
So yeah, guys, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments down below about this 2024 draft class. Are you pleased with what your favorite team did? If not, let me know in the comments down below. Let's talk about it. Some of your predictions for this upcoming 2024 NBA season. We will have a free agency video coming next week. Some of the reactions and potential trades and things of that nature that we might see is going to be compelling. I always love NBA free agency. Just looking forward to it, guys. But yeah, let's talk in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about the 2024 NBA draft. I appreciate you guys watching. Always make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss, and also on TikTok at SwaggyRuss02. Cooking videos, shorts, reels, things of that nature. More videos are on the way, guys. Hope your summer has been great. Hope you're doing well, decompressing, being blessed, and having a good time. Like I said, in comparison to this NBA video, I am going to be in Las Vegas in a couple weeks, so hoping to get some media access potentially. Of course, you know we would have an NBA Summer League vlog and maybe potentially some interviews praying on that, but we'll see what happens, guys. But really excited for the future. Know that you can do all things. You matter. You have purpose. You are here for a reason. God loves you. I love you. Hope you have a good one. Keep being great.